Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Ben and I'm a photographer and videographer based in North Wales. This is the Tamron 17-28 f2.8 DI3 RXD for Sony E-mount. I've had this lens for about 6 months now, as well as its bigger brother, which I've had for a year and a half. I've already done a review on the 28-75. Today I'm going to talk all about the 17-28 and share my thoughts. Throughout this video I will be referring back to the 28-75 because it is a superb little lens and it shares many similarities with the 17-28. So let's get to it. First off, as soon as you get out of the box you'll notice how small and lightweight it is. From the mount to the front it is just shy of 10 centimeters long. It only weighs 420 grams. For comparison, the 16-35 G Master, that is 680 grams, and I used to have the Nikon 16-35 f4 VR, that was 685 grams. So this is 2/3 of the weight of a standard wide-angle lens. In the box you get front and rear caps as well as a hood. It is primarily plastic build, although just like the 28-75, it doesn't feel cheap compared to a G Master, which is primarily metal. It'll probably feel cheaper than that, but still, it's pretty solidly built. It does have metal lens mount as well as rubber weather sealing gasket, which is always nice to see. One thing that I love is that it has a 67mm filter thread, exactly the same as the 28-75, and exactly the same as two of my other Sony lenses. That's just really handy in terms of filters. I only had to buy one size, although I should be receiving my Rever ring soon. So if you want to see the review of that, hit subscribe, it should be coming soon. Internally we've got 13 elements in 11 groups and 9 rounded aperture blades. Externally the zoom and focus rings are nice and smooth. Really on Sony cameras we're not using manual focus that much. If you've never used a Tamron lens before, it may seem weird that the zoom ring is at the front and focus is at the back, but you soon get used to it, trust me. And there are no buttons on this lens. Personally, the only thing I really like to see is a manual to autofocus switch. Rather than going in through the camera, it is a lot easier to just flip it on a lens, but there we are. Focusing, just like the 28-75, this works fantastically with the Sony system. It's smooth, fast and really quiet. I've just put it on the A7 III and this is right next to the microphone. See if you can hear it. I'm guessing probably not. It works great with all the face and eye autofocus systems and really it's on par with any Sony lens that I've used. One great thing about the focus on this lens is its close focus abilities. At 17mm you can shoot 19 centimeters. Now remember, close focus is not from the end of the lens, which a lot of people think. It's actually from the camera's sensor. On every camera somewhere you'll have a little symbol like this. That line represents where the plane of the sensor is. So 19 centimeters from the sensor. Remember, the lens is only 10 centimeters long. You're focusing roughly by here. It's fantastic. And then at 28mm you can focus 26 centimeters away. So even though it's a super wide lens, you can get some really almost macro looks with it, especially if you're shooting on a high megapixel camera like the A7R4. You can get some really close-up detail shots. In terms of image quality, it's fantastic. I took a load of these brick wall shots focusing in the centre at 17, 20, 24 and 28mm at different apertures: 2.8, f4, 5.6, 8, 11, 16 and 22. I'll put all of these JPEGs in a Dropbox folder for you to check out at home. Centre sharpness is fantastic. I'd say it's probably sharpest between f4 and f11. Shooting at 17mm you will see the sharpness deteriorating towards the extreme edges of the frame, but as you increase focal length that soon seems to disappear. Flaring, it handles very well. I had to try quite hard with a head torch to try and get these shots here, and you can get some pretty nice sun stars between f11 and f22, and the bokeh is very nice. It's very pleasing. Bear in mind, because it's a wide angle, if you've got a lot of lights in the background it can look quite busy, but the actual reproduction is quite nice. Now, all this said, bear in mind, value for money. This is by far the best value for money wide angle lens you can get for the Sony system. Brand new, you're looking at around £850 for this lens, which is a lot. It's not, as some people call it, the budget option. It depends on what your budget is. But if you're looking for a wide angle zoom lens with f2.8 aperture, this is the cheapest you'll find. Even the older Sony Zeiss 16-35 f4 is over £1,100 still, although with that you do get optical stabilisation. The 16-35 G Master lens is £2,100, and the closest you'll get from Sigma is the 12-24mm, which still comes in at £1,300. So for the money that you're paying, you're getting a lot of lens with the 17-28. You can also use this on APS-C cameras like the A6000 series, where you'll get a equivalent 25-42mm focal length, which would do very well just as a everyday shooter. So all that said, I'd say this is probably the most sensible wide angle zoom lens for the Sony system. I do have to say it because everyone's bound to be thinking it if they're looking at this lens. It is a bit of a weird focal length, 17-28 compared to the standard 16-35. You are losing out a few mil, both on the wide end and on the tele end. Personally, I've never found myself wishing that I had an extra 1mm on the wide end. Just moving back 6 inches would probably sort that out for you. And on the long end, 28mm, well, that's where this one takes over. So I think Tamron have done a very smart thing here. Classically, you'd have a 16-35 and a 24-70, but between those two lenses you have an overlap of 11mm. With these lenses, by ending at 28mm on the wide angle and then starting at 28mm on their mid zoom range, they've basically not had to do as much work. They've not had to include as much in the lenses in terms of covering those extra focal lengths. They'll also be saving on materials, which all at the end of the day means it's cheaper, which saves the customer money. And I'm very appreciative of that. And yes, I would also love to test out their telephoto lens, 70-180. This year just hasn't been the best financially, but I'm sure I'll get there at some point. So to wrap things up, this is a fantastic lens, especially if you're on more of a budget. In fact, these Tamron lenses as a pair, you can't go wrong with them. Bearing in mind you could buy both the wide angle and the mid-range and still have money left over compared to buying either the G Master 16-35 or the 24-70. Yes, they're plastic. Yes, they may feel cheaper than the G Masters. Image quality, unless you're on a super high megapixel camera, you're not really going to notice any difference. Bear in mind I shoot on the A7R4 and I am perfectly happy with the resolution of this lens. And yeah, really, I think that says it all. So that will do it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, found it useful. If you're interested in purchasing this Tamron lens, I'll have a Amazon affiliate link down below. If you use those links, I do get a very, very small commission, but every little helps, especially this year. Otherwise, if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe down below, and if you've got any questions at all, leave a comment and I'll do my best to get back to you. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Be good, stay safe, get shooting, and I'll see you in the next video.